the dogfights are the
Yeah, the
best bits,
dogfights,
for
amazing.
sure. They've got to be. I
And
mean,
he
it's
refused to do any CGI, so these are real
yeah.
Spitfires.
The three aren't they the three remaining Spitfires in
Two
the
are
world?
Spitfires. I was reading about this. Two are Spitfires. One is a sort of reconditioned other type of plane that was made to look like a
Right,
Spitfire.
okay.
Hello and welcome to the Aspects of History Film Club. My name is Oliver Webb-Carter and I'm the editor and your host. This month's film is on the anniversary of Dunkirk, so I'm discussing Christopher Nolan's 2017 masterpiece with the acclaimed director Tim Hewitt. This is following on from Saturday's chat with James Holland when we discussed the build-up to Dunkirk and the what if had the evacuation not happened. Coming up, I've just returned from an outing to the cemeteries and memorials of the First World War in Belgium and France. You can head over to my Instagram and Twitter if you want to see some pictures, but I'll also be putting out a bonus pod whilst out in Flanders. Coming up on Saturday, I have a chat with a fellow podcaster on Napoleon and his generals, plus there's much, much more to come. Please rate and review and check out the Patreon where you'll find bonus content, but until then, I'll hand you over to me talking Dunkirk with Tim Hewitt. Right, welcome back, Tim. This is the next film club. It is Dunkirk. We're in May, and I've timed this. So this is coming out, dear listeners, right at the time of at the end of May, which is when the evacuation at Dunkirk occurred. This is the Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. Came out in 2017. And this is your film club for this month. So I'm here with Tim Hewitt, acclaimed director.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And Tim is straight off a shoot, so he's filled with technical knowledge. So Tim will kick off. Dunkirk, Christopher Nolan. This came out before Tenet, I think. And so
yeah, that's the one he made just before Tenet.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't know about you, but I found Dunkirk good on repeated. When I first watched it, I wasn't sure about it. I would probably have given it 2.5 out of 5. But having watched it again, it keeps on going up a notch. Each time I watch it, gets better and better.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I liked it probably more than you when it first came out. I was awed by the spectacle of it, but I do think it's a film that needs to be seen again to really appreciate what he's doing. You know, sometimes I think a lot of people thought that on their first viewing, they maybe took a little time to adjust to the whole time concept that he's using, you know, to know that a mole is actually a peer, you know, and not a spy of some sort. And then the whole 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, and that it's all happening at the same time, because you do try to sort of figure it out when you're watching it, going, when is that happening? So when's this sequence happening related to the other sequences? But I actually thought it was an amazing spectacle when I first saw it. But yeah, it sort of grew on repeated viewings for sure.
Yeah, well, I now think it's a masterpiece. I think it's brilliant. But first time I didn't think that. But the timing thing it's obviously Christopher Nolan is obsessed with time. Every single film. Maybe
from his very bizarre one of his short films that he made while he was at university. I think it's got clocks ticking or a clock ticking, which has become a sort of signature thing in most of his films, particularly, you know, things like Inception, Tenet for sure. I mean, there is a time obsession somewhere.
Yeah, you don't see it in the Batman films, though, do you? It's just more linear, those, aren't they?
No, but there is I think, you know, at the beginning of I want to say at the beginning of The Dark Knight, he's when there's the robbery happening. Is there not something happening with the clock? I want to say there's like a ticking or something, but maybe I'm.
It's interesting you mentioned the ticking, because I read somewhere that in this film, he had a timepiece, an old-fashioned pocket watch, a family heirloom or something. Yeah, and Hans Zimmer recorded the ticking of the time, and that apparently plays throughout the whole movie. But I was watching, Well, I was watching again last night and I couldn't detect it. So maybe it's very faint and you have to be in the...
Well, he's definitely. I mean, there's a very famous example in Interstellar when they land on the water planet, which is heavily influenced by the gravity of the black hole nearby, and he's puts in ticks, a ticking clock that is just over 1 second between each tick, because that represents a day passing on Earth because of the time dilation.
I need to watch that film again because I was unconvinced by Interstellar.
That's also, I do genuinely think, a film that needs repeated viewings, and you will. I did not like it the first time I saw it. I thought it was a little bit overly sentimental and a bit Hollywoody, a bit non-Christopher Nolan. And then I watched it again and then again, and I've completely changed my opinion of it. Maybe you need to do that with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Interstellar is not going to be a film that's on your podcast. I don't think.
No.
But
that's the future.
Yeah.
It was the same with Tenet. I saw Tenet, and I think it's brilliant now. Absolutely.
Yeah, you like it more than I do, I think.
Right. Well, so Dunkirk. Okay. Yes. So it is starring. It's got. I don't know. I don't think it ticks the box of your ensemble cast, but it does star a number of heavyweights. It's okay. So it stars Kenneth Branagh, Cillian Murphy, Mark Rylance, Tom Hardy. Those are the big names. There's a pop star in it who I am not familiar with, called Harry Styles. I believe he's quite big now.
I think he's relatively famous, isn't he?
Yes. He's in the modern day equivalent of Take That, I think. And Ffion Whitehead.
I think it's pronounced Finn.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yeah. I think
and
so.
Jack Lowden. I'm a big fan of Jack Lowden. I think he's really
excellent
good.
actor. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
And Finn Whitehead in this is our sort of basically us, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess he's our eyes, and the everyman, but the extremely youthful soldier that, of course, we forget about Dunkirk. Well, we forget about the war, I suppose, that they were so young, all of them. Most of them anyway. And he's the kind of protagonist, I guess, in a way, but even though it is it's not an ensemble, but it's a multicast point of view film. Michael Caine appears as a voice.
He does, and I'm glad you brought him up, because obviously, so he's a voice. He plays the commander of the 3 Spitfires.
Yes,
you can actually see him. Given that they didn't have 80-odd-year-old pilots in the Battle of Britain or in pre-Battle of Dunkirk. And he gets shot down. And as he does in the Battle of the Britain, the Battle of the Britain.
The Battle of Britain, yeah, he does indeed.
He's shot down in that as well. So he's got 100% failure rate as a pilot.
Or as an RAF officer. And then Mark Rylance, and then, of course, Irish
Cillian Murphy.
No, sorry, the boy who jumps aboard.
Oh, Barry Keoghan.
Yeah, I think it was his first film. He was actually still at drama school, I think, when they got him. Very
good in the Hunting of a Sacred Deer, I think it is.
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah, that's the one.
And then the Banshees of Inisherin, which he was very good in.
The time thing you mentioned. Now, what I don't understand is when I first watched it, it took me, I think, by about nearly the end of the film, I finally worked out what was going on. But on repeated viewing, it does clearly state, if you're on land, it's a week. If you're in the air, it's an hour. Sorry, if you're on land, it's a week. If you're in the sea, it's a day. And if you're in the air, it's an hour. So I rather sympathize with Christopher Nolan. If people are complaining, I'm a bit confused, he has basically put in a sign at the beginning saying there's separate time frames to where you are.
Yes, I do agree, but at the same time, it isn't something that we're particularly used to seeing, if we've ever seen it before, in fact, in films. So I think it does take a little while to adjust that it's not happening simultaneously, because of course you do. Obviously, there is evidence and clues that you jump from a daytime scene in the air to a nighttime scene on the boat, as in the Finn Whitehead's boat, not Mark Rylance's. So you know that they're happening at different times. But I do think that it takes, as an audience member, a little while to adjust exactly to what's going on. And then the fact that, of course, that it flips around in time, that you see the one incident happening from one person's point of view, and then later in the film you see it from another person's point of view, because the times intersect. But I do think it takes a while to adjust. Well, that's why I think it needs to be seen more than once to really fully appreciate his narrative style. But once you do, you just sort of, it's nothing that you need. I don't think it's something that you need to properly calculate and pause the film and say, well, no, okay, now hang on, I don't understand what's happening. When's this happening? Just as long as you know kind of vaguely what he's getting at, I think that's it. You then enjoy the film.
Yeah, I don't even think you need to know that you are watching the same ship sink 3 times. I don't think you need to know that, even though that's what happens.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
it's all about the suspense. I mean, really, it's about the tension, isn't it?
Yeah.
That he builds. I mean, essentially, to me, I think other people have said this. It's the third act of a film played out for the whole of a film. In most circumstances, this would be the third act of another film.
So why is that? So talk me through that. I don't quite understand that. I mean, the music, the tension, the music starts at the beginning. It's extremely...
Yeah, but what I mean, I guess, is the action that's played out. In most other films, filmmakers would have, we would have seen soldiers in their battalions or wherever, probably trying to get to Dunkirk. And then the last third of that film would be them trying to get off and out and back home. But Nolan's made that section the whole film. And that's why the tension, I guess, is so intense for the whole film, because he's stretched out essentially a climax over the course of 2 hours. Or no, not 2 hours, because it's actually quite a short film, really, for a Christopher Nolan film. But I think that's why, the music helps. I think it's what's called the shepherd tone is what Hans Zimmer used, which is it's like the Penrose steps in Inception, that they never end. It's the shepherd tone is the chromatic crescendo and ascension of notes that seem to go on forever.
It's so powerful in this film.
Very clever. Really, yeah, I mean, it should have got an Oscar for score, in my opinion. I think, was he nominated? I don't know, but he should have done.
Who got the Oscar? That's interesting. Yeah, it's hugely powerful.
Yeah. I'm really surprised that this film didn't. I mean, the year that it was up for all the awards, I think, and I love Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, but that won the BAFTAs for director and I think film. I'm very surprised the Brits didn't give the awards to Nolan that year. You can't get more of a British patriotic film, and BAFTA kind of.
Well, there was I tell you what, there were some weird takes on Dunkirk. So there was an argument that it was a Brexit movie. And
oh, gosh, okay.
I know, it's crazy. And there is, and
listeners,
in case the listeners think that both of us are massive Brexiteers, we're not at all.
Right. No.
But bringing Brexit into Dunkirk is insane.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd. I mean, it's a tale that's extremely important to the British people who care about these things. There's that, what's it called, the Dunkirk spirit.
Exactly.
That we're all a bit obsessed with, that we kind of want to. It's almost as if we want to go back and do it again, just because we're so proud of it. We can't really let it go. But
I hate to name drop, or not name drop, or sort of blow my own trumpet. But I was being interviewed by a Barcelona-based news site, and I was saying that we are obsessed with our glorious victories. Glorious defeats in Britain. Just love the Charge of the Light Brigade. All this kind of thing is right up our street, and this does speak to that. But just going back to the music, you mentioned the Oscars in 20. I think it was the 2018 Oscars.
Yes,
Dunkirk won. It won for best sound editing, but for best original score, it didn't win. It was nominated. No. Shape of Water won. I don't remember the score in that.
No. I mean, I sound editing absolutely spot on. The actually all of the sound design, to be honest, in it is fantastic. I do
Yeah,
remember
he
watching
won
it the very
sound
first time.
mixing as well.
Right, and deservedly so. I do remember the first time I saw it in the cinema, which was I saw it in an IMAX cinema. I remember the sounds of the Luftwaffe when they're approaching the mole for the first
The
time. That
Stuka bombers, yes.
squeaking is horrendous, but so powerful and just so awesome. Yeah, I thought it was great. Cinematography, I thought was fantastic. Some of his shots were amazing. You know, the tilting of the when the boat's sinking, the kind of really skewered angle of the camera where the water's rushing in, and a very it's almost like a nightmare. It's something isn't right. You know, it's not normal, which I thought was very powerful. But of course, it's not a he's not a violent director, and he doesn't put in gratuitous. I think there's hardly any blood in the film, really, to be honest. But you think there is. You think it's the horror is there, sort of under the surface. Cillian Murphy's performance as a what would they call it, shell shock in those days. I mean, he's amazing. I think
He's really good. He's lucky because he looks very young. Because I was a bit skeptical because I think he's our age. I think he's
yes. We're very young though, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. But I think he would have been playing someone in the mid-20s, in his mid-20s, and he pulls it off.
He's got a youthful face though, even now.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
helps.
Lucky.
Yeah. And I just wanted, there was one shot that I really only noticed watching it most recently is, the Ffion Whitehead, our sort of hero, and then the guy who doesn't say a word because he's French, they carry a stretcher. Yes, they carry a stretcher onto the hospital ship in a ruse to try and get out. And they're booted off the ship, and the ship is then, as we learn later, sank. But there's a shot of the guy they've carried on just as this boat's sinking. And he's been carried on there under false pretenses. The guy's just got chest wounds. He's been shot a few times in the chest. And you just know he's going to die, and he's just sitting there. It's just a really nice shot. There was like a second on him, which I only appreciated well after.
Amazing attention to detail. I don't think. I mean, we're going back just very quickly about the British, then your mention of the Brexit thing. I don't think Christopher Nolan in any way, shape, or form. Well, I might be wrong, to be honest, but I don't think in any way, shape, or form he made the film with any notion of being a patriot or accentuating anything to do with the Britishness of it all. I just think he wanted to tell a very suspenseful story, with a very famous historical event as a backdrop. Because there isn't really any the improbability of the outcome, I think, was probably the stepping off point of telling a story that was extremely suspenseful, because Dunkirk was it was a lost cause almost. I mean, at that point, the Germans should have killed us off, I guess. I mean,
famously they stopped because they didn't have infantry support, so the tanks were waiting outside Dunkirk. So we'll go into a little bit of history. It is a fascinating episode where there was this phony war prior to Dunkirk happening, the Dunkirk evacuation. So we're in May, late May. I think the evacuation begins around 26th of May. There's a very good book. I recommend a book written by Hugh Seabag Montefiore called Dunkirk. It's excellent. I can't recommend that enough for anyone listening. So, but the war had been declared in September 1939. So one might wonder, well, why is it taken sort of 7 or 8 months to even get to this stage? Is because most of the time, both sides did nothing, sitting behind the Siegfried Line and the Maginot Line, which were lines on the border of Germany and France, the idea was that they had these huge gun emplacements that meant that there would be no invasion between the two countries. But there was an assumption that, similar to 1914, that on behalf of the Allies, was that the Germans wouldn't go through the Ardennes forest because you couldn't get tanks through there. And obviously the Germans completely ignored military orthodoxy and advanced, and the rest is history. I think within 2 weeks they had defeated the French, the British, the Belgians, and the Dutch, and the Dutch and Belgians were knocked out of the war. Then the French were obviously knocked out quickly after. So the panic at Dunkirk is absolutely, I mean, it's completely accurate. I mean, the British Army was in complete panic. I mean, there've only been a couple of other films that I'm familiar with that have really dealt with Dunkirk well, which is Dunkirk, the John Mills film,
the John Mills film,
really, really, really good.
Yeah, slightly different to this.
Yes, that's of a sort of platoon, sort of trying to retreat.
But it's really good, though. I think it's a really good, especially I think the John Mills sections and his bunch. You know, his there's like only a few of them that are trying to get to the coast. But it's really when they. I think this is the section where they go into the house, they find food, and then they have some eggs or something, and then the Germans approach, and it's like it's properly suspenseful, that section, in a very different way to this film. But I think it's a really good film as well.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's excellent. Made in 1957, I think, and then more recently, Atonement, which it's not a Dunkirk set film, but there was a set piece.
There's a section there, yeah,
and I think it's brilliant.
Oh, you like? Oh, yeah. It's the famous
Joe Wright.
Joe Wright's one take where he follows James McAvoy along the beach, which was an accident. Well, not an accident, but it was like, look, we can't keep. I think it was a time issue. It was like, I can't do these setups. Let's do it in one shot. Yeah, it was effective.
Excellent. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's get cracking with our categories. But before we do that, I'll just mention that this film, I think it cost around 100 million. I was trying to find out how much it cost to make, and there are estimates.
Yeah.
And it seems to be around 100 million, but it took in $500 million, 500 million at the box office.
Yeah, he's a clever guy because he's really the only filmmaker, I think, that manages to make blockbuster level films that have a lot of brain in them, if you know what I mean. Thoroughly looking forward to.
I don't know what you mean by brain.
As in, they're not just superficial pieces of entertainment. They are thought-provoking, very, very, almost, I don't want to say academic because that's going too far, but we're getting close to that sort of level of filmmaking. Interstellar, I think, is very similar with the detail to the accuracy of the scientific side of things. I'm really looking forward to Oppenheimer coming in July, which just looks like it's going to be an enormous film, but it's about a physicist. I think he's one of the only filmmakers that gets away with doing that these days. Yeah, so I don't know, Dunkirk is, I would say, it's a blockbuster, which you can see by the take, the box office take. But it's quite remarkable that he pulls it off. I don't think other filmmakers would be able to pull this sort of a scale, this type of film and this scale.
Amazingly successful.
Yeah, amazingly successful. I think deservedly so. I do think that his little bit of a genius casting was Harry Styles, because the people who probably
this is the pop star.
Yes, the pop star. The fans that worship the Harry Styles, had Harry Styles not been in this, probably would never have gone to see the film. I know that's a slight overgeneralization.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you're right. That's
very clever piece of casting, and I thought Harry Styles was very good in it, actually.
Yeah, he was good. Actually, he was good.
He does this excellent look where when they're in the ship having their jam sandwiches or jam on bread, and he's like, "Where's our mate?" or something. He says he's finding the nearest exit just in case, and Harry Styles looks at the door in sudden realization, shit, that's true. It's like a really good momentary bit of panic.
Oh, nice. So you appreciate his performance. I like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's probably good direction as well. But
so we'll go into our first category, which is best performance. But just before we do that, and I know I've said that before, but in the Oscars, The Shape of Water got best film.
Yes, it did. Yeah, and Guillermo del Toro got best director as well that year.
Right. So maybe it's a strong year. The other films nominated for best film were Call Me by Your Name.
It was a good film.
Darkest Hour, another Dunkirk. Wait, so that's a Dunkirk double bill, really. I mean, it's
Gary Oldman won.
Yeah. There's no Dunkirk involved. You don't see it. It's not filmed, but it's all in the context.
But funnily enough, in the same year, we get the same Churchill speech.
Exactly.
Said one by Churchill and one read by.
Yeah, we'll don't worry. We'll be talking about that at the end of this discussion.
Sure.
Get Out. That sort of horror film.
Yeah, won best screenplay.
Racism.
I think that year.
Lady Bird, Phantom Thread.
Excellent film. Love that film.
The Post.
Film.
The Post.
And also a great film. Yeah.
Yeah, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. So actually, that was quite a strong year. There's far too many nominations these days, but that's a strong year, isn't it?
Yeah, really good year. Yes, I mean it's all debatable, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean Dunkirk, I thought was really strong.
So, but
one of the strongest that year.
But it's not a film for acting in a weird way. In that, like I was thinking about our Simon Baker Award is newly sponsored by Simon Baker. So the Simon Baker Award for Best Performance.
Yeah.
And if the listeners are wondering who the hell is Simon Baker, he won our award for Best Performance from Margin Call because he was so good in that. I'm slightly obsessed with him. And now it's the Simon Baker Award for Best Performance. And I was struggling to work out who would be the best performance. I mean, my nomination is Mark Rylance, but that's because he probably gets the most lines.
Well, I suppose he gets some of them. I mean, you could argue that Jack Lowden has a similar amount of lines. I think he's excellent. I love the way he's almost drowning, and then he's helped by the boy, and his first words are "Good afternoon."
That is a great scene.
Terribly British, isn't it? In World War II, in particular.
Yeah, I appreciated that.
I think Cillian Murphy was really good in his cameo. I mean, it is a cameo, let's be honest, but I think he is excellent in it. He's never put a foot wrong, in my opinion, in anything.
He's so good. He's my favorite film of his is The Wind That Shakes the Barley.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah,
and I was so upset that I missed what a friend of mine described as hands down the most incredible stage performance he's ever seen is when Cillian Murphy did a play in London where it was just him. It was a one-man play called Happy Man, I think, and apparently he was astounding. Yeah, I think he's excellent, and I'm so happy he's landed the lead in Oppenheimer, because he deserves leads in films.
He looks a little bit like Oppenheimer. A little bit.
Yeah. What really astounds me, if you watch the trailer and the voice starts narrating the film, I thought, I wonder who's narrating. And it's him. His voice is astonishing. It's very different to what he usually sounds like.
But I don't think he said I don't think he says enough, and B, he's barely in it in this film.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, you could say the same thing about Tom Hardy, especially the fact that you never see his face.
He is so good in it, though.
Yeah,
so
it's very good.
I could be swung.
He does have the best line in the film, which is "I'm on him."
Yeah, he's on me.
I'm
on him. It's so good. It's so good. We're gonna come to best scene. That's next.
Okay. fantastic.
So
best
Branagh's great. He always is.
Branagh's great, but he's also, you could argue, along the same lines. I mean, I probably am leaning towards Mark Rylance as well.
What about the lead? We've not even mentioned
Ffion Whitehead. Yeah, he's really kind of perfect in the role. I know that Nolan said he didn't want stars, he wanted unknowns for that, so that we kind of get to know him in a completely fresh way without any preconceived ideas. He is excellent in it. He doesn't have a lot of lines, even though he's in the whole film.
Well, that's
really
what I
doesn't
was
say
saying.
much,
I don't think anyone has a lot of lines. Basically, it's not a film for actors. It's more a film for the event.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why the script was something like 70 pages long, because there's so little dialogue in it, and it was mostly action descriptions, of course. A little bit like the film All Is Lost with Robert Redford. There's like 2 lines in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm leaning towards Mark Rylance, to be honest, because it is a complete character. He's when his son is like, no, Dad, he's not, there's no movement, or he kind of survived that. And he's like, I know, Peter.
Yeah,
you might be able to help him.
Yeah, no, he's always good. He's
great.
Good. Yeah. Okay, so we'll give it to him. Right. So best scene. So I had a few best scenes. Okay, and the first one was the first Stuka bomb attack on the beach, where Finn, our hero, is down on the beach with his head in his hands, and the camera goes sort of, is it slow motion? I think it goes into slow motion.
I think it's maybe slightly. It's when the bombs are dropped and the bombs approach and then blow up a guy. The shot's held completely still. Yeah.
That's a fantastic scene.
That's best shot more than
scene.
Yeah,
it's not really a scene. I suppose you're right. Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino, he described it as the greatest shot in cinema war history. The best shot in a war film.
Basically. Yeah, I think that's a bit hyperbole there. There's I think there's.
I mean, it's hard to match, to be honest.
Well, I don't know.
One shot.
Apocalypse Now, the helicopter attack.
The napalm.
Ride of the Valkyries.
I'd say the napalm attack in Apocalypse Now is better.
All right. Well, so then, okay, then maybe that's 2. That's 2. And then I don't know. I think that's getting a bit carried away. But okay, so another scene is, I think,
try harder, Christopher Nolan.
Anything involving Spitfires.
The dogfights are the
best. The dogfights
for sure. They've got to be. I mean,
and he refused to do any CGI, so these are real Spitfires.
Yeah, the 3 aren't they? The 3 remaining Spitfires.
2 are Spitfires. I was reading about this. 2 are Spitfires. 1 is a sort of reconditioned other type of plane that was made to look like a Spitfire.
Okay.
He's on me. I'm on him.
And I mean, they're fantastic. That scene's great.
It's the dogfight. They're just the best. So I'd probably have to put that first dogfight as the best. When he says, "I'm on him."
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Well, then I have one more that I loved, and feel free to chip in with your own. But I was watching this again, and I have to confess, and this is something I have a habit of doing. My wife will attest to this. Is that I burst into tears. Well, that's a bit of anxiety. I cry. I don't burst into tears, but I cry
Right.
in everything. And I
Okay.
cried when the little ships appear and Branagh says, "What is it?" I think James Darcy says, "What is it?" And Branagh says, "Home." And
Yeah.
all these little ships arrive, and it's to the sound of Elgar's Nimrod.
Well, is it Elgar's or is it Hans Zimmer's version?
It's a Hans Zimmer's version of Elgar's
Yeah.
Nimrod.
Yeah.
Yes. And
That's when I think that scene is when everyone, Nigel Farage and all his supporters, probably stood up in the cinema and clapped.
oh bloody hell! Now you've lumped me in with Nigel Farage, you bastard. I was taken hook, line, and sinker. Then I was.
I mean, it's fantastic. It's great, and you know, I really like it when he's like, "Are you from Deal?" And they're like, "Dorset" or something. You know, they're telling him where they've all come from. Yeah, it is moving. That is very moving. I mean, it is a great moment. Scene, I would say. I do think that the attack on the ship, when they are at nighttime, when they've just had their jam on bread, and it tilts, you know, and he does it. He shoots it in such a original way. I think there's another one that could be up there for me.
So what are we going to go for then? What's going to be the
However,
best?
I personally would go for the dogfight for sure.
Yeah, I think I'll go with that. Dogfight.
Because it's so amazingly choreographed and real, you know.
But what's interesting is that all those scenes we've mentioned, they don't involve dialogue. Or if there is dialogue, there's very little.
Just goes to show you shouldn't necessarily have dialogue in movies.
Well, I think this also means this film doesn't do it's not about the script, really.
No, it's the spectacle. It's you know, the editing. It's the cinematography. It's fantastic.
Should we skip it one? But was it even nominated for best screenplay? That would be bizarre. No, it wasn't, and that's fair enough, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so next category is most unlikely scene. Now, this is the Argo Award for most unlikely scene, named after the famous event where Ben Affleck completely lied in his film. Much as we love Argo, yes. But this is most unlikely scene, and I think undoubtedly this is the beach when he gets onto the beach. And Kenneth Branagh at one point says, "We've got to get 400,000 men off this beach." And you look at the beach and there's like 30 people on it. Like, where is everyone?
Well, I mean, at the beginning of the film where Finn comes out from the residential area onto the beach and the camera's behind him, I mean, you see a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm 30, I'm being mean. You probably see maybe a few.
But of course he does. Yeah, but he doesn't. I don't think. I mean, you know, you could go, well, there's a hell of a lot more up there, and there's a hell of a lot more over there.
But at one stage, they're walking along the beach, and there's literally no one. You can't see a soul.
Oh, you mean that the bit where they're going towards that boat?
Yeah, but that's not just I'm not using that as the only reason why I think this is that many of the shots I don't think show enough people. And we mentioned Atonement earlier. Mm-hmm. That scene captures it a lot better. I mean, these people everywhere. There's the military vehicles discarded. There are like trucks and artillery pieces all over the place.
See, that's a circumstance where Nolan could have used CGI.
Yeah, which he doesn't like doing. Yeah, I mean, the beach in Dunkirk is. You'd want to go and put your towel out and get the sandcastle out. It's too pristine.
Interesting. I didn't think of that actually. Then all the many times I've watched the film, I do have a question that I don't know whether this could be, this can qualify as most unlikely scene. But why on earth does Tom Hardy set fire to his plane?
That's quite easily answered. I think he doesn't want the Germans to get it.
Yeah, but they're right there. They come and get him at the end.
Yeah, but had he not done that, they'd have got the plane. To
me, that's blatantly alerting his presence.
Oh, I think if you've got a plane landing on a beach, they wouldn't, because they were right on the Germans had surrounded Dunkirk. They would have been able to see that quite easily, I think.
I would have ditched it just
In the sea?
offshore.
Well, that might have been a sort of suicidal mission. What, sort of the cowardly Tom Hardy?
Yeah, he was a bit of a
Yeah, no, I'm not buying that, I'm afraid. I think that's fair enough.
No, I was just that's why I said it's probably not. It may not qualify as most unlikely.
I'm
But
just trying to think what else. But I just think, it was a bit of a missed opportunity on the beach scene to make it, particularly only a few years before having seen Atonement and that shot, which is so impressive. And I think that was a missed opportunity. I really do think that you would have. Okay, so I'm going to mention this. My cousin's grandfather, so that's my uncle's father-in-law, was at Dunkirk, and I remember asking him about it, and he just said it was just horrific, absolutely awful. And we didn't go into detail in the conversation about it, but I didn't get the impression that it was nice flat beach with orderly single file lines, but
didn't they shoot it?
It was a lot more chaotic, basically.
Right? Yeah.
Which I don't think the chaos of the beach is portrayed accurately enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on. I don't know but it's Nolan's capturing it at very particular times as opposed to a generalized. Finn arrives. They're trying to get in. I think in lines, and and he joins a line and has said no. Grenadiers only, mate, or something. So he has to go away.
I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that happened. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but it's
a difficult film for unlikely scene. In terms of, because unlikely scene to me is like that would never happen. Like in Argo, basically.
Well, unlikely is a little bit qualified. So it could. The Argo one that was a bull-faced lie.
Whereas there's no real lie in this film.
I don't want to accuse it. I'm certainly not doing that. I'm just saying that it could have been a little bit more chaotic.
Okay, because I can't put my finger on any other scenes. So we'll go with that.
You'll go with that. Okay. Yeah. All right. So where are we? Done best performance, then most unlikely. But done best scene, unlikely scene. Now legacy. Now it's had a hugely power. It's sort of rewritten the script on war films, hasn't it?
Has it? I don't know. I mean, I haven't really. I don't think it's rewritten the way they're made quite like the opening, for example, of Saving Private Ryan, which basically changed the way the camera was used to capture chaos. Without Saving Private Ryan, we probably wouldn't have things like the way the Bourne films were shot. But I think it's definitely got a legacy because of the subject matter, and because also just the way it's rather unconventional, the narrative, the way he tells the story.
And with it making £500 million at the box office, that means a hell of a lot of people saw it.
Absolutely, exactly. Yeah, I don't think other filmmakers would have been able to do it the way he did it. I saw in interviews that year actually when there were panels for those that were nominated for the Oscars. So there was a panel with Greta Gerwig, Christopher Nolan, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, Guillermo del Toro, and it was Paul Thomas Anderson who said, when I watched Dunkirk, I just said, how the fuck did he do that? And he said, and I would watch these scenes. I just kept saying, how the F did he do that? And he does have that capacity as a filmmaker. You just kind of go, how on earth?
Quentin Tarantino's spoken about how impressed, he thinks that this is one of his favorite films of the decade, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think he said it was like his second favorite film of that decade.
Yeah.
And I do think it's because it needs to be viewed more than once. I think if people who just saw it once in the cinema, a lot of people may have just gone, yeah, it was really, it's really entertaining and suspenseful, but it's not like, amazing. But I think if you watch it again,
Yeah.
you definitely change your opinion of it.
Definitely agree. So listeners, watch it again if you've watched it. I think even if you watch it 3 times, watch it again. I've watched it. I think I've watched it 4 times now.
Yeah, I've watched it 4 or 5, I think, probably.
And it's so good. And I'd
he's one of those, you kind of like, it's just easiest way to put this is he's a sort of director that does suspense where you're on the edge of your seat, but it's not that you're on the edge of your seat suddenly. It's like you slowly move from the back of your chair to the edge, but gradually. It's kind of like, and that's the way he loves this cross-cutting editing style. He's done it in Inception, he's done it in Interstellar, he's done it in this. I think he's done it in The Dark Knight. It's a thing he does where you're kind of like straining with the suspense, going, when's the climax coming? Which is very clever. I don't know any other director that does it.
And the score contributes to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think that was robbed at the Oscars.
Right.
So Tim, that's been fantastic. Thank you very much, listeners. Go out and watch Dunkirk for the 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th time. And coming up next month, Tim, we're going to be talking Bloody Sunday, which will coincide with my interview with Peter Taylor, the legendary BBC journalist who's covered the Troubles since Bloody Sunday, which is what we're going to be talking about.
Can't wait.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Ollie.
Thank you very much for listening. Coming up, it's Napoleon and his generals, and much more, including the Royal Nazis, the Troubles, the Battle of Waterloo, and a chat about the Eastern Front during the Second World War. Please rate and review, but in the meantime, thank you and good night.